Okay, now moving to TikTok, which Larry Ellison is in the process of taking over, we're going to be joined by Guy Christensen, who is the creator behind the account Your Favorite Guy. Guy, welcome to Breaking Points. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you, Guy.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right, so you're going to walk a couple boomers through what is going on over at TikTok. And so, and we've been talking offline. You've been trying to educate me, just with some success, but you got a lot of. It's a difficult task, so it's not on you. So, tell me what I'm getting. Was September, what is it, 13th or 23rd?
September 13th.
Okay,
yeah.
So what happened on September 13th?
TikTok changed their free speech guidelines, and it has to do with their new hate speech czar, who was hired through ADL lobbying. Her name's Erica Mendel. She's an ex-IDF instructor. She's a former State Department contractor, and she says that Zionism is an identity that goes hand in hand with Judaism for her. And so TikTok hired Erica Mendel under pressure by ADL lobbying, which the national policy director takes credit for. And about 2 or 3 days after they hired Mendel, everyone who uses TikTok actually saw this. They pushed out a post notification when you open the app. It says they're changing the guidelines. And in these guidelines, they changed a whole bunch of things around that makes it so much harder to talk about Palestine. You can't talk about graphic incidents or violence in the context of a public interest. And they explicitly list war as something you can't talk about. They make it much harder to criticize the state of Israel as an illegal apartheid state or characterize the IDF as terrorist forces in the way they lay out criticisms of national origin.
I also noticed that it said that if you mention, and I do reporting on TikTok now, and so I will say like, I'll do this like 1 or 2 minute videos where I'm saying like, okay, this is Hamas is responding to, and I don't even do the like, I know that some people will say like H because they're worried about the algorithm not spreading their stuff. I don't care if it spreads stuff, because we end up then posting the video on Twitter and Instagram, whatever. So I just use all the words. But like I will say like, okay, Hamas has received the take it or leave it ceasefire offer from Trump and Israel. Here is what Hamas is saying. Here's what Palestinian Islamic Jihad is saying. Because I'm a news reporter, and like those are the organizations that are involved in the news. And I saw, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought I saw in the guidelines that every time I mention them, I have to then follow that up by condemning their existence. Is that like, how does this work?
That's exactly right. They require anyone who makes videos on TikTok now to explicitly denounce all designated terrorist organizations by the State Department when mentioned in a neutral context. So you can't just say,
instead of praise be upon him, it would have to be Hamas, condemnation be upon them.
Yeah, you have to.
Has said that within 72 hours they will respond to the.
That is so crazy. All right, so Guy, I know you have compiled can we have some examples? Can we put these on the screen so you can just explain it again to a boomer like me? Some of these things about why videos are getting taken down. Just walk us through these.
So just to put it into context, prior to the September 13 changes, prior to Erica Mendel entering the company, I looked at, before I came on, the past 6 months, what happened. And I only had 2 videos taken down. And since September 13th, it's been 11.
Wow.
And it's not been that long since, they switched over. So what you're looking at here are notifications, screens that TikTok sends creators when they remove their videos. And so you'll see on the left, I'm trying to submit an appeal. That was a video where I talked about Max's reporting in the gray zone about Charlie Kirk and his supposed turn on Israel leading up to his death. And, the guidelines make a cutout for public interest. And so I thought I could appeal, but of course not. They took it off the For You page and all feeds, which you can see here on the right, where it says visibility restricted. It's not eligible for the For You feed. That means nobody can see it unless they explicitly like open up my profile and go to my page and find the specific video, or else they're not going to see it at all.
Huh, that is crazy. Do we have any more guys that we can show here?
Put up this next one here.
So we have a few more here. There's one here on the right where What is this one about exactly? This is again the gray zone report where
I think it was. I think
yeah.
there were multiple videos about gray zone reporting that were removed talking about Israel or Charlie Kirk. And then on the left is actually a screenshot trying to show that there's no option to appeal. So there's no recourse for that.
And what about these two? What do we see here?
So the one on the left is, you'll see your video is under review and can't be shared right now. TikTok does this thing. It's essentially shadow banning, where they don't actually tell you it's taken down, but nobody can see it. So it's like in this limbo stage. That was a video I published last night that thankfully went through the review system, but it can get stuck in this limbo for up to 24 hours or longer, which is what happened with this interview on the video on the right, which is now able to be viewed in my profile, but it's not able to be pushed in feeds. So it's stuck at like a few thousand views.
And so, and this was an interview you did. You were at the ADC conference out in Dearborn, right? So you did an interview there, and then it takes like days for it to post.
Yeah. So it went up, and I think it got sometimes they'll let it out in the feed. It got like 100 likes, and then they took it off the For You page, and for I think it was like 36 hours.
And what are you saying in these videos that you think is triggering? Well, I mean, I think you've had some controversial interactions with them. Maybe are they like looking at you specifically, or are you saying things in these videos that is triggering something, or both? Like, what do you think is going on?
I think that I'm not being targeted specifically yet, as far as I can tell. What all these videos have in common that have been removed since September 13th are that I'm talking about Israel. I'm talking about, AIPAC's influence. I'm talking about Larry Ellison and the attempt to put TikTok under Zionist control. I'm criticizing Israel in some way. And it's the same thing I've heard from my audience, my friends who are creators. Ever since September 13th, they've had the same exact experience. Videos that are, more informational and critical of Israel get removed. Sometimes like comedy videos, lighter criticisms of Israel can make it through. But that's been all of our experience. And I did want to point out that in the new free speech guidelines, TikTok outlines these conspiracy theories that blame quote unquote powerful groups and are likely to undermine public confidence. And I believe that this is the part of the guidelines that they've been using to justify taking down videos criticizing AIPAC, the pro-Israel lobby, Zionist influence in the United States. It's so vague. I mean,
that is so crazy, guys. So, the idea that you can't mention Hamas without saying I condemn Hamas is preposterous. How are you supposed to do any reporting, whatsoever? YouTube tried to do this at one point where we weren't allowed to play videos of Trump claiming the election was stolen. And I was like, he does that every time he speaks.
Every speech.
Like, how can we possibly cover this?
And they wanted us to come in and they wanted, say, it wasn't stolen.
Right. They wanted us to come in every time. How am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to do my job? But for you, I guess, look, at the very least, that was done for our country, right? Here we're talking about a different country. Guy, I don't know about your career or any of that. Are you going to be able to continue to make a living, you and other creators and et cetera that kind of rely on this? Like, how is this affecting the entire ecosystem of political creators on TikTok?
So I would assume that it's demonetizing everybody pretty much across the board, because another aspect of getting your video taken off the feed, taken off the For You recommendation feed, is that if you get a certain number of these quote unquote violations, or like soft violations, you get like 5 of them in the span of a month, you're kicked out of the monetization program, and you can't get any payments for any work you do on TikTok. So, that's about to happen to me. It's happened to me a few times in the past 2 years as I've advocated for Palestinian liberation. But how are we meant to do our advocacy when we can't even name the state? We can't reference their crimes. We can't discuss the censorship. And they're like, there's such a thing going on where you can't talk about Larry Ellison or Netanyahu meeting with American influencers.
That's nuts. Yep. Yeah, but they can post their videos of talking with Netanyahu. You can't post about it. This is bonkers.
What do you think the long-term implications of this would be? Because there's this idea among the Larry Ellison types of the world and Marco Rubio's and others that TikTok and Instagram really did change people's understanding of what was of Israel because they were able to see the images of what was happening in Gaza, which then implies that there's some world that they are able to create in which people would not be able to see those images. And I'm just skeptical that any amount of algorithmic suppression can fully suppress an ongoing assault of 2 million people on a daily basis. Like, it's gonna get through somehow. And to me, the YouTube, Spotify in particular, remain like the places where people actually go to shape their thinking and their ideology, because that's where you spend more time engaged in thought in long form with this show, or whether it's Rogan or whoever you're listening to. Whereas TikTok and Instagram and the others, that's just kind of some basic raw material that I suspect you could get elsewhere. But maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they actually can lock all this down. So from your understanding of how young people consume media, is there a way that they could actually algorithmically lock all this down?
I think that it's pretty scary to see Trump talk about retraining the algorithm in connection with what Netanyahu has said about how this TikTok purchase is number one for their eighth front, the digital war. It's going to be very consequential. And it's entirely possible that they can, block out all Palestine related content, all left-wing content. It's possible, but I think that the cat's pretty much out of the bag here in America. If you had come and asked me a year earlier, I might be saying something different, but we're the majority who are here in America who are calling it genocide, what Israel's doing to Gaza. And, I'm talking to people my age across the political spectrum all the time. The one thing I hear come out of every single one of their mouths is the word AIPAC. They know. And so when Israel continues to make these moves and become bolder, more aggressive and desperate in trying to win back the narrative, win back American support, it's only, I think, going to backfire on them. The ADL just got attacked by the right on X.
Oh yeah,
for labeling.
We're loving it. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm eating it up. Anything to take down the ADL, but every single time they are exposed paying influencers $7,000 a post, and like in that recent Farah release by WikiLeaks and Responsible Statecraft, it just brings more attention on them, and people are not gonna, there's a rapidly declining trust in any pro-Israel voices they do see on social media or on news outlets anymore. And so I think this is just like a losing game. It may even be a better strategy, I think, to try to start influencing this in the shadows once again. But I don't know if that's possible.
Guy, thanks for joining us, man. And please do keep us updated. If you get banned or anything like that, let us know, and we'll keep everybody updated. But very insightful, again, as a boomer who doesn't use TikTok. I actually cannot believe those content guidelines. That is nuts.
Wow.
All right, okay, we'll see you later.
Condemnation be upon
you guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.